Peter Parker's had it rough the past few months, being framed for murder with a $5 million bounty on his head. But with the Gathering of Five and new mysteries to unravel fast approaching, things have gotten even crazier. Between the Black Tarantula, Norman Osborn, the Stacy family, new identities, Green Goblins, the Daily Grind crew, and the Trapster, will we rise above it all or crack under the weight? Welcome to the Forgotten Era, where we'll answer all those questions and more. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Forgotten Era podcast. It's me, Ethan, and today we're finally finishing Identity Crisis. It feels like it's been forever, and it kind of has. Today, I'm joined by somebody that hasn't been on the podcast yet, but we've talked about it since I started it. It's Alex, TheLongestCosplays.
Hey y'all, it's me, Alex from TheLongestCosplays. Hope you guys having a good day so far. I am very excited to finally finish Identity Crisis. This is a great storyline in this era, and I think it needs to be talked out more than just this podcast.
There's nothing else except for this podcast.
That's true.
That's all there is. It's the only thing they've
That's all there
ever
ever
made.
will be.
Yeah, no one else will ever do it. There's not a single YouTube video about Identity Crisis.
You're never gonna believe what I'm gonna do after this.
A YouTube video about Identity Crisis?
If I go and pick up all those issues, I will.
Hey, there's only 3 times 4, 12.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that hard.
It's pretty
Nobody picks
easy.
up the Identity Crisis books. I could probably find it somewhere.
Sensational will be kind of difficult to find, probably. But that's it.
That's true.
It took me a while to find a copy of 256, the one that we're reading today. But then I had 3 of them, so it was no longer hard. And then I had to get rid of them somehow.
And I now own one of those copies, thanks
One of
to
them,
you.
yeah. That's right. Man, when I was buying lots for Project Rescan, I just had so many extras. They're everywhere. They're everywhere.
They're gifts to people. That's a good thing.
That's true. Anyway, Alex likes comic books. That's why he's here.
I do. I'm a very avid collector. For 6 years now, I believe. Yeah, 6 years I've been collecting. Um, I don't have like the hugest collection. I certainly don't have the amount that Ethan does. But I've been putting myself out there. I've been showing my collection off in bits and pieces and videos and whatnot. You can see it all on YouTube at TheLongestCosplays. Feel free to like and subscribe if you like what Ethan does here. You'll probably enjoy what I do over there.
Yeah. Yes, Plug City. He does that. He makes suit patterns. He cosplays.
That's true.
Obviously, commission Alex for suit patterns. Give him all your money. Give him your firstborn. And
Yes.
Kiss the ground that he walks on.
All right, maybe not all that, but yeah, I've been a cosplayer of 10 years now, primarily Spider-Man. I do have a sensational suit on the way, um, based on the lovely early concept for that Dan Jurgens did, where he has like the blue and black on the chest and the arms, and it's awesome. Shout outs to Ethan for showing me that. Um, but yeah, I do. I make suit patterns. Feel free to hit me up on Instagram at TheLongestCosplays. I'm sure all of this will be linked in the description of the YouTube video or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
It'll all be there, yeah.
Yeah, so feel free to hit me up, or you don't even have to give me your money. Just check me out. Although I would like your money. I would like your money.
Commission him. Just send him money.
Yeah, you could just send me money for being awesome. I don't know.
Like, buy a taco. Here's $15.
I would love a taco for $15.
All right, so I have to ask this question because I ask everybody. I asked Brad. I've asked everybody that's been on here. Do you have a history with any of this time period at all? I already know the answer, but I have to ask.
So, those who listen will probably never believe this. I do actually have a history with this time period because it was some of the first pieces of Spider-Man media, especially Identity Crisis, were some of the first pieces of Spider-Man media in the comics that I ever like knew about. Because I knew about Prodigy and I knew about Dusk when I was a kid. Um, I don't know how the hell I came across it. I think I just like popped up a YouTube video of like top 10 Spider-Man suits, and both of those were on there for some reason. So naturally, I was curious on what that was about, and I figured out, oh, Identity Crisis. Spider-Man wasn't doing so hot, so Peter donned other identities. So I was like, oh well, that's cool. Um, and then I like completely forgot about it, ironically enough, for like 10 years. And then just a few years back, I remembered Identity Crisis again. I was like, oh wait, that's the thing I remember from it, like when I was a kid. It was that and oh my God, what's the Blood Spider, I believe it is. With the stupid ass yellow eyes or whatever.
Yeah, the like
Um
green and black and red. Yeah,
yeah,
I do.
that was also on that video, and I remember that vividly. That's the only reason I can even give you such a valid description.
It's not even a
I,
Spider-Man suit.
it's not, but it was on there, and I do now own that first appearance. I paid too much for it probably, but I have it now, so it's all right. Um,
Did you ever read anything else besides Identity Crisis, or is it just Identity Crisis?
uh, God,
Do you have
I have
any
to pull out like
experience with
memories.
Shock?
I don't, I don't, not that I remember.
This is the Shock
Um,
talk.
I I didn't have like easy access to comic books as a kid, which is why I've been going back and reading so much over the last few years. Um, but when I did, it was mostly like random bits of Spider-Man stories from, I guess, around the time of like 2012 to 2014. So right around the Amazing Spider-Man period
Yeah,
of movies is when I like started reading Spider-Man stories, like the
that makes
actual
sense.
ones and not like those small books you'd find in the library. But um yeah, I don't think I have to because I remember like, seeing a lot of early Humberto Ramos art as a kid, and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what the hell is this? This isn't what Spider-Man looks like to me.
Especially if you see
Because
like
all I knew,
the like 2003 Ramos, it's like, oh my god, what's
yeah,
happening?
it was so jarring because all I knew at the time was like, I guess John Romita Jr. and Tobey Maguire. Like that's what Spider-Man looked like in my head at the time. So I saw Humberto Ramos's art and I was like, what the fuck is this? He looks like a chud. So
He's got literal chicken legs.
he does have I mean, nowadays, I'm a grown ass man. I appreciate that early art, you know. Um, but yeah, I don't think yeah, no, I don't have too much other reading experience as from that time as a kid. It's only been like very recent.
Which doesn't surprise me considering how unavailable it is. But yeah, that's
That's
just
true.
the question I usually ask. I know, like, Brad had read a little bit and stuff because of his dad. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, so today, like I said, we are finishing up Identity Crisis in the pages of Spectacular Spider Man. Unfortunately, this is where we say goodbye to our good buddy JMD Mateus because 257 is his last issue on the book, as he is leaving again. From what I understand, it's just, getting ready for the reboot, getting ready to do all the stuff with the Gathering of Five and the final chapter, and he just kind of was out. Kind of like how in the Clone Saga, he was out after it kept going.
How can I
But
make
would
this
pop
about the
his
Clone Saga?
Hey, it's tied. This is so the DNA of this time period is so tied to the Clone Saga. It has to be talked about. Uh, but actually, I don't think there's any, from what I remember, no clone mentions in these issues, which surprises me because every now
Yeah,
and then
no, not
they
that I
just
recall
mention it.
either.
Um, but yeah, that's a little unfortunate bit. With the Identity Crisis things, I've been reading from the back of the Identity Crisis trade, so I'll read Prodigy's little blurb here before we get started on the actual books. The Prodigy costume was designed by Michael Golden, which is pretty cool. The original design is much different than what was actually put on the page. I like the revised version a lot more. Um, Original version looks more Thor-esque with like a mullet and a cape, but I like that it was kind
Oh,
of simplified and looks more like a fucking Power Ranger with the final design. But
I mean
the
most costumes from this era look like Power Ranger suits, so it's cool though. It's cool. I love
it
it.
fits. It fits.
Yeah.
So, Prodigy. The idea behind Prodigy was to have him play the role of an old fashioned and fun superhero, said J.M.D. Mateus, writer of Spectacular Spider Man. Peter Parker was behind the mask, spouting off goofy dialogue and acting out the role of a 1950s hokey hero and enjoying himself. I hope people got the point that we were trying to lighten up and have fun. Because Spider Man was such a departure from the classic superhero mold when he first debuted, added editor Ralph Macchio, we thought it would be neat to make Prodigy representative of the classic superhero the public accepted. They accepted him immediately as a shining beacon of hope. This was also intentional to contrast with the public's constant mistrust of Spider Man. And then everything about how I won't read this part because it's not a direct quote, but Michael Golden based the costume off of Greek gods, Jack Kirby, and a whole bunch of other little tidbits. He originally had an open face mask, but they changed it to be a closed face mask with a fake nose. And there's our little background on Prodigy. So we're going to start with Spectacular Spider-Man number 256, and Alex was kind enough to write a recap so that I didn't have to. So you can go ahead and take it away whenever you want to.
This was a very fun issue. I really liked it. So, Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man, Volume 1, number 256, obviously written by J.M.D. Mateus, with the pencils by Luke Ross, inks by Dan Green, colors John Kalitz, I don't know how to pronounce that, and then Tom Vincent. Other stuff, editor Ralph Macchio. So this was released in February of '98, with a cover date of April '98, and features the first appearance of Peter Parker as the Prodigy, one of the many identities Peter had during the Identity Crisis storyline. Let's dive into this book, shall we? Because it was a fun read. I actually really enjoyed it.
It's
This
silly,
issue,
isn't it?
oh, it's very silly, and it makes itself so clear when the issue begins with White Rabbit taking over a soap opera where I guess these two people who are like about to get into a relationship, like, like the girl is married to the guy's mother's stepfather or something like that. It's fucking weird. Or like there's some like complicated relationship going on there, and which is a very weird start to a Spider-Man book. Like it wasn't what I was expecting. But of course, White Rabbit is there, and she like takes the greatest bad guys known to man, Grizzly and Gibbon, hostage, and she she's on live television as she's doing all this, mind you, and she holds these two for ransom and begs the mayor to give her $1 billion worth of gold. That is billion with a B, dollars in gold, which I don't even know if that amount even exists like in the real world, let alone in the Marvel universe. But it was so funny when I read that. I've read this 3 times over and I still can't believe it. Um, and so Grizzly and Gibbon are trying to get out of their little situation there. As White Rabbit reveals that she has genetically mutated killer bunnies. I don't know where she got them, but she has genetically mutated killer bunnies. Not the best way to go out, if I do say so myself. But we cut to the mayor. He's seeing all this go down, and he's laughing his ass off, as anyone would, thinking this is some kind of joke. Um, but yeah, we're in the Marvel universe. I don't know how he could see this and think, "Oh yeah, she's joking," but she isn't. Um, and he's laughing his ass off, and they're trying to figure out how to go about this, and the mayor's just acting all nonchalant, and they're like, we'll take care of this. It's no biggie." But as this is going on, Peter and MJ are discussing everything going on with the anti-Spider-Man stuff that's been going on with the previous identities. Dusk. They bring up Dusk for a little bit. Um, and they're sitting down. They're trying to come up with a new identity for Peter to go by, just obviously to help clear Spider-Man's name. And they go through some names such as the Sensational Sentry, the Archetype, and the Protector, when suddenly they hear a burst of laughter coming from a crowd nearby. Sure enough, there's a thing of TVs, and people are watching the news as White Rabbit, has this hijacked broadcast. And in classic Peter Parker fashion, he runs off to rescue who are, in his own words, the most inept bad guys he has ever faced. How heroic. Sorry, my cat is like freaking out. He's seeing something going on outside. um, but anyway, Norman Osborn and J. Jonah Jameson, they're arguing about a memo that Norman wrote about his side of the events after Green Goblin kidnapped Harry in the book that Ben Ulrich wrote about the Osborn family. It's a very messy argument. Very messy. They're getting heated over there. Norman shows off a book written by an author whom Jameson's wife seems to be a pretty big fan of, enough for the big guy to threaten Norman as he storms out of the office. That was very funny. I can't lie. I mean, it was. I understood this, like, the serious significance of it, but in the back of my
Yes.
mind, seeing this guy yell at Norman Osborn of all people, it's like, all right, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, so that's a big thing of this time period. So because Norman owns the Bugle, he's blackmailing J. Jonah Jameson, and that book is something that he had Jack o' Lantern steal from his home so that he could like use it as a threatening piece of like blackmail sort of thing.
I will
So,
always, I will die on this hill when I say that Jack O' Lantern is one of my favorite Spider-Man villains, just because of how silly he looks.
well,
Like
this is the
he's
second
both
Jack o'
silly and
Lantern. He kind of
badass.
freaky.
Yeah. I love the first Jack-o'-lantern. The second Jack-o'-lantern is really cool too. I like him a lot. Um, but yeah, Jameson storms out. Flash Thompson walks in. Or at least I'm assuming it's Flash Thompson. He says it's Flash Thompson. So he walks in um after Jameson and reminds Norman of several appointments he needs to tend to for the day. One of them being for an AIDS charity. It really is fascinating to see how real world events impacted comic books back then. That caught me off guard. I wasn't exactly prepared for the AIDS mention. Not that that's a problem. I just wasn't expecting it. Um, so I was like, oh wow, there's a charity for AIDS going on in the Marvel universe. That's good to see. Um, but we cut back. Grizzly and Gibbon are still trying to break free from their situation, as White Rabbit comedically says that Spider-Man is our arch nemesis. Naturally, people are laughing. Dormouse is based enough to humble her and remind her that damn near no one has ever heard of her. Another guy runs in, tells her that the mayor himself made what I consider the most generational lowball I've ever seen. A counteroffer of $2.50. Mind you, the original offer was $1 billion in gold. It's honestly kind of sad how no one takes her seriously. I
Not
mean,
even
she's trying
350.
her best. $2.50. $2.50. That is a crazy lowball. Um, but like, it's sad how no one's taking her seriously. But at the same time, it's hilarious to think about, like, the mayor of New York doing this. So after that little comedic bit happens, MJ, we cut to MJ. Coming up, she's drawing up concepts and she's sewing together Peter's new suit for his brand new identity. As Aunt Anna walks in, she tosses her stuff aside, kind of like in a Peter Parker fashion, hiding the costumes or whatever. She tosses her stuff aside. It has, after all the funny stuff that has happened, what I could a very shockingly deep conversation about an affair that Anna had while she was married to her first husband.
Yep.
I, yeah, it was.
So this moment is a follow up to like 4 or 5 issues ago, where Anna explodes on Peter and accuses him of cheating on Mary Jane. But we've gone like 4 or 5 issues without mentioning it at all, and we're finally bringing it back right here.
Yeah, it was crazy, and they do elaborate on that, because this is after the fact that she accused Peter of cheating on MJ, which my
Yeah.
goat would never do that, and MJ had to make up some bullshit about Peter being Spider-Man just to convince her that that was a ridiculous idea. Um, which is very funny considering the fact that Peter Parker being Spider-Man is such a ridiculous idea to people that you can just get away with saying stuff like that. Um, get out of unfortunate accusations. Um, I actually really liked that conversation. I don't know. I think that's something I don't keep up with modern Amazing Spider-Man, and I refuse to unless they make Ben Riley Spider-Man again. Um, but like, I don't think you're seeing that kind of stuff talked about in modern Amazing Spider-Man. So it was a really nice refresher for me because all I ever see is Mary Jane as Venom or something, and I get angry. So I like seeing deep and meaningful stuff like this. An actual serious moment. Um, and then we cut right back to the shenanigans as White Rabbit proceeds to take a blimp to the sky and she starts bombing the city.
She starts
She go
fucking
she
blitzkrieging.
she yeah she goes blitzkrieging, like, and the mayor is like watching her do this. Like he is standing in the building that she is in front of, like in this blimp, and he looks kind of the mayor kind of looks like the what's the boss's name from the Jetsons? He looks like him. Fucking
I don't know.
he has like that short he's like the short fat guy, and it's really funny when you see him standing in front of like White Rabbit. Um, but White Rabbit's all pissed off about the lowball that the mayor gave her, and she makes a new counter offer, $5 million worth of quarters. You heard me right, in quarters. $5 million. What a crazy. That's got to be so heavy. It would be heavy in cash one way, but in quarters, I mean that's got to be like I don't think any man on the planet could lift that. But anyway,
Dude, it's like when
Peter
people
comes to the rescue.
I see people bring like bags of change to the bank and exchange it for like cash, and I'm like, holy shit, that's like 100 pounds of pennies.
Oh,
That's still only
I've been
ten
in that
dollars.
situation before. I have done exactly that. And it is the most embarrassing thing on the planet because I didn't realize that I didn't have to pay to do my laundry in college, and I was convinced that I'd have to use quarters, so I got a bunch of quarters, and I had to take them to my local bank, and I looked like such a fucking idiot standing in that stupid ass gas station, like sorting out quarters, making sure I had an even amount. It was so bad. But anyway, Peter comes to the rescue, but not wearing his new costume. Yes, he is wearing the bombastic Bagman outfit, and not the version that's wearing an old Fantastic Four suit. No, 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 no. He's in a completely different outfit, rather almost lack thereof. Uh, and it's very jarring because normally if you think of Bagman, you think of the old Fantastic Four uniform with the lunch bag on his head, but no, he's just in some like normal clothes this time around, and it's kind of funny. Um, but he proceeds to fight White Rabbit's goons as he makes up some bullshit story about him being a grocery store clerk and getting powers by a lightning bolt, striking a shipment of exotic shampoos which then got onto him and somehow gave him powers. I couldn't have enough alcohol in me to come up with anything like that. There, there is that's just such a crazy story. And only J.M.D. Mateus could ever write something as ridiculous as that and make it work. Like it is, it was so stupid. I was baffled, but I was laughing, so I guess it really worked. And then, after all that happens, White Rabbit shows up with a fucking Mecha Rabbit, which is honestly pretty damn badass if you ask me. I would have never expected to see a Mecha Rabbit in a Spider-Man comic, but you know what? You know what? Why not? Comic books are a media where you can do anything. Truly. Grizzly and Gibbon somehow escape, and actually, I will give you the reason why they escape because it's just as ridiculous as the rest of the story. The rabbits betrayed her. The rabbits betrayed their master, and they kind of chew Grizzly and Gibbon out of their capture, which is oddly cute. Like the bunnies are oddly cute, but then again, they're bunny rabbits, so I don't know what you want from me. But these two idiots just kind of stand there for a while. Um, and they end up meeting Bagman. And they have a conversation with him, and they're trying to get him to go under their wing, which is really funny because it looks like Booster Gold and Blue Beetle talking to people. Like that's how funny and stupid they are. Um, so you truly cannot go wrong with that. And after all of this, Peter returns home. MJ hands him the new costume that she made for him. As he was off fighting the world's funniest mundane bad guys to ever walk the planet, he puts the costume on as MJ reveals the new name she came up with, Prodigy. And in what I'm sure is meta commentary, Peter agrees to use the name only if they can get Leonardo DiCaprio to play Prodigy in a movie directed by James Cameron. What could have been? What could have
It
been?
should have happened.
It should have happened. I really it's crazy how James Cameron's Spider-Man has gotten so much more attention now in recent history. Like I know like three people with suits based off of those concepts.
That's
Um,
crazy.
but yeah, that's the end of that issue. I hope I did half as good as our lovely host usually does. If you care about the rating I'd give this, I wrote down 4 to 5 stars, so I guess it'd be an 8 out of 10
Okay.
if we go by the 10 scale. So
Yeah.
that's what I think. I had a lot of fun with this.
Yeah, it's a ton of fun. It's a follow up to what was it? To fuck, I don't remember what issue it was. The Legion of Losers. I think it's 246. It was the right after the Chameleon stuff and before they started doing the Jack O' Lantern like hardcore. They had a funny issue where Peter just takes on Grizzly, Gibbon, Spot, and the Kangaroo. So we've been following Grizzly and
Wow.
Gibbon as like heroes since that issue because they betrayed the other ones, like they betrayed the other guys, and claimed to be heroes. So that's what we've been doing. They crashed or they drove their Grizzly mobile into the river, and
I'm
then they
sorry,
were
did you just
abducted
say
by White
Grizzly
Rabbit.
Mobile?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought I
It's
heard
pretty
that
cool.
correctly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's pretty sweet. Um, but I will say that something very significant about this issue, besides Prodigy, is that this is the first time that Bagman is called the Bombastic Bagman. He was never called that before this
That's
issue.
true. Yeah.
So, because in 258 he was still just Spider Man, but he was wearing a bag over his head. So that's a little significant thing. We wouldn't have gotten that name, I guess, without good old JM. But overall, I mean, it's just a really silly issue. A lot of these establishing issues for Identity Crisis are they. This is the silliest of all of them for sure. But I appreciate that because I just want to laugh, especially after uh, a spider hunt. It's like, damn, that was Peter had like a building fucking fall on top of him. He got his shit rocked. Like, let's just make him fight a nobody to save two nobodies. and have fun while doing it. So it was a great issue. I'd probably give it like a 3.5 out of 5. So 7 out of 10.
This is,
It's not my
I have more whimsy in my heart than you do.
no. I have tons of whimsy. I have tons of whimsy. I just I don't think it's an 8. I think the best part of the issue is
I
the moment with Anna and then the ending. So
I 100% agree that I love me my silly stuff, but having such having such a deep and very serious and adult conversation in the midst of what is probably the most hilarious battle you can ever think of. Like it's like tonal whiplash, but it works. Again, only JMD Mateus could ever do anything like that and get away with it.
hmm that's for sure. It's funny that he's like a master of all, because it's like he can do very serious, very deep emotional storytelling, and then he can also just do like the stupidest thing you've ever read,
Yeah,
and I
and
mean that in a good way.
it's great. Yeah, no, it's really great. And I'm gonna go back because you mentioned that Prodigy's costume is based off of or it was like inspired by like Jack Kirby arts and whatnot. I definitely got that feeling when I saw it at the at least that specific panel on the end page. I really got the Jack Kirby. Like I'm like imagining now. It looks so much like something Jack Kirby would have come up with, like for like the New Gods or something. Like that checks out, honestly.
Yeah, the belt piece and like the chest piece. Yeah, it fits. That's for sure. All right, you ready to move on?
I was born ready.
All right, so we've got Spectacular Spider-Man number 257, Prodigy. It's released on March 25th of 1998. JMD's final issue with Luke Ross on pencils, Dan Green and Al Milgrom on inks, and John Callis on colors. Midday in Manhattan, Ambassador Hazram Chalice and his family are making their way to their private helicopter. But inside the copter is a member of the Army of Conundrum. Soon, more soldiers arrive and take the ambassador and his wife hostage. Before they can make it off the ground, they're stopped by the new hero in town, Prodigy. Prodigy saves the Chalices as Billy Walters of the Bugle takes his photo in admiration. Later at the Bugle, Jameson applauds Billy for his photo abilities. Norman Osborn isn't too far behind, wishing to talk more about Prodigy, and hopefully finding a way to use him against Spider-Man. Now comfy in his position at the Bugle and in sobriety, Flash Thompson is visited by the love of his life, Betty Brant. They make plans for dinner and to go see Les Mis that evening. Somewhere else in the city, we're introduced to the mysterious Conundrum. He's a human enigma with a puzzle theme. All his answers are found within the pieces of puzzles, though he can never truly decipher himself. It's revealed he's kidnapped the ambassador's daughter, using the attack on her father as a distraction, in hopes of trading her for their family's fabled hand gem. Back in Forest Hills, Pete lands as Prodigy, taking his suit, face paint, and fake nose, very important, off. He's loving getting to be the kind of stoic hero he read in the comics as a young boy. As he begins walking down the street, he runs into Aunt Anna, who apologizes for her outburst, thinking Peter has been unfaithful. It's been a while. She admits it's because of her own past. She was once married, in love, and then cheated on her husband with another man. She never forgave herself of that, but Pete forgives her for this. Shooting over to the Metropolitan Museum, we see the Hand of Mumthazi for the first time. It's a ruby that allegedly unlocks the key to heaven itself. Most people believe it untrue, but others, such as the Mad Jack's employer, believe otherwise. Jack is sent to the museum to steal the hand, and he's successful in that mission. At the Parker home, MJ and Pete are alone for the night. Mary Jane wants to have some fun, but Pete is distracted by Conundrum being mentioned on the TV. He learns of the daughter's kidnapping and the theft of the hand. The family begs for their daughter back and will give anything else. Pete knows what this means. It's time for Prodigy, as he rips his shirt off iconically without the suit underneath. It's upstairs and doesn't fit under his clothes. He heads to the embassy where Norman and the ambassador are. Apparently the two are old friends. Prodigy is given the ransom note and heads to take on Conundrum. There he finds both Mad Jack and Conundrum. Those two also have a shared history and served under the same master. Jack admits that he doesn't even want the gem, he just wants the girl. Conundrum doesn't understand why the fuck he would ever want that, but there's little time to talk as the prodigy bursts into the scene. Pete smashes the two villains' heads together, but it's a fake out as their costumes are empty. He turns around to find that the two are now as tall as buildings and himself as small as an ant. And there is 258. Or 257, shit. Ah, whatever number it is.
Getting ahead of ourselves.
Apparently so. What are your thoughts?
I really so yeah, Jam Mate's last issue. This was also really good. I fairly enjoyed every single or I guess every single one that we read, 256 to 258. I really enjoyed all of these. Um I especially really like the introduction of Conundrum and how he, it's a very unique look for a character that I don't think I've ever seen done before. Um, and especially because I actually have the issue pulled up, and I was quickly scrolling as you were doing the recap, and I'm looking at the final page here. He looks like the '60s Spider-Man Green Goblin a little bit in this
Kinda,
final
yeah.
page. With because like it's a because all I think most of the issue he doesn't have a proper face. He's not drawn with like an actual like a eyes and a mouth. But in this last page, for some reason, he has a face, and it looks so it looks so stupid next to Jack-o'-lantern, who looks badass. Um, but yeah, I really enjoy the funny bits with Peter and MJ. Um, I really like the fact that in it like because he looks like Superman doing it, ripping the shirt open, but with
Yeah.
nothing underneath. Um, I always get a kick out of the shirt rips, but the fact that there is nothing under there is like, and he even says like, man, I got a nice chest. You got to admit, and she just doesn't like say anything to that. He's left hanging. I was like, wow, he's just like me. This is what Spider-Man is like. Um, but I love like the like pulp hero aspect that he has going on with Prodigy. I love seeing like just the wacky and the silly um like heroes of the golden age like come into fruition with newer hero I guess quote unquote newer heroes here. I think it's a
Yeah,
nice
and
tribute.
this whole story feels very of that time. Maybe not so much with
Yeah.
all the like very technical mystical elements, but with like the kidnapping of an ambassador and his family and holding for ransom and trading out for gems and like all of that stuff is very like yeah, that's pretty cut and dry like superhero story. Um
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if this wasn't a Spider-Man book, I guarantee you would find something very similar to this in the pages of Superman. Like Silver
for
Age
sure.
Superman. Like, I guarantee it.
And the other thing I wanted to mention is that the covers of the next couple issues of Spectacular Spider-Man, but especially this one, they're drawn by John Romita Sr. And since it's the first month of Identity Crisis, like full on, we got both a Spider-Man version and a Prodigy version, both drawn by John Romita Sr. So those are really cool covers if you've
And they
never
look
seen them.
and they look beautiful. Because that was something that, like, took me by surprise when I first saw them. I was like, wait, that's not the way Ramita Jr. draws them. Like, at least of this time period, this is not how Ramita Jr. would draw it. So I was like, I looked into it. I was like, yeah, Ramita Sr. He came back and did covers. Like that was really cool. And I think I own one of them. I don't remember. I'd have to go through my collection, but I own one of the variant covers from this time period. Um, for the I want to say it was the Ricochet or something like that, but I'll have to go back through it. But I love these variant covers. I'm definitely gonna have to like search these out
Yeah,
at
they're
the next
sweet,
show I
especially
go to.
when you buy all of them and then just have them all next to each other in a box. It's pretty fun. But I have a lot of friends that specifically love how Mermita Senior draws Spider-Man at this time. So every time I see like this, I think about them. I wish he
Yeah,
would
I
have
mean
gotten to do
you
some
can never.
interiors instead of just covers.
Yeah. I mean you can never go wrong with Ramita Senior on Spider-Man, or rather Ramita Senior in general. But it's really nice to see, even if it's just a cover, it's nice to see him doing stuff like that.
For sure. So if I had to put a number on this, I'd probably give it like it's probably around the same. It's like a 7.5 or an 8 for me.
I
I'm
think
not too
yeah,
invested
I'm like
in
right there with you.
Conundrum, but you know, it's interesting.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I put it at a 7.5 and 8. Um, I don't know. Like again, really fun story here. Um, but like you, I'm not like too, like I could definitely I don't think I'd ever read a full length storyline with Conundrum. I think it was best that they kept him like like this, like very brief.
Yeah, just a two and done villain. So, Spectacular 258 is going to round us off for this episode with, for some reason, a cover credit for Roger Stern, but he has nothing to do with this book. Um, but I digress. Another cover by John Romita Sr., which is pretty sweet. Um, let me I'm ill prepared. Let's see. Spectacular 258, Man of the People, was released on April 22nd of 1998 with Glenn Greenberg, who is now our writer here, Luke Ross once again, and then Al Milgrom on inks and John Callis on colors. It's the tiny prodigy against the massive villains as Peter recaps Identity Crisis to the readers. After exchanging blows, Prodigy is trapped in the hand of the Mad Jack and dropped into his fiery smile. At the embassy, Norman is working to reassure both Hazram and Flash Thompson that Prodigy is capable of the job, while also hoping to take advantage of Prodigy's naivete to use against Spider-Man. Inside Jack, which is crazy, Prodigy is falling endlessly. As he falls, he remembers when Jack hypnotized him as Spider-Man and chooses to use his spider sense to figure the way out. Turns out it was all illusions, and they've been normal sized the entire time. Prodigy is ready for beatdown time, but the two villains need some time to recoup. They aren't given that time, though, as Prodigy beats them down with ease. He demands to know where the ambassador's daughter is, as Jack deflects to blame that all on Conundrum. It's enough to distract Prodigy as Jack's cat, Maguire, attacks and rips off Peter's fake nose. Jack makes his escape, and Peter defeats Conundrum. As the police take Conundrum away, he tries to escape, but Peter uses his spider sense once again to see through the illusion and knock him out. Billy Walters wants a quote from Prodigy, and he leaves him with one heroic quote before jumping away to save the daughter. Pete finds and saves Tabriaz, the daughter, who gives him a kiss as a thanks, and I really hate what Peter thinks in his thought box here. Um, they're not home free yet, though, as Mad Jack arrives to the scene to take the girl. Before Jack can even do anything, Norman's bodyguards shoot him dead. Prodigy is awarded $1 million, which he donates to charity for saving the daughter. But Peter has one last trick up his sleeve. He claims to have found a Spider-Man suit in Conundrum's lair. This costume, combined with the Trapster's recent confession to killing Joey Z, is enough to completely clear Spider-Man's name. This really pisses off Norman, which, hell yeah. Pete feels a little guilty for planting the suit as evidence, but if Norman can play dirty, then so can he. Prodigy takes his final flight as he arrives home to become Spider-Man once more. To end the issue, it's revealed that Jack-o'-lantern is still alive and was working for Osborn the whole time again. This was all part of Osborn's convoluted and really lame scheme to make the Chalice family indebted to Osborn. Who cares? The end. And that's Spec 258. Probably the weakest of them, honestly.
Hmm.
But it rounds out the story, and it also literally brings Identity Crisis to a close because this was the last one published. So,
Yeah, it was. I think yeah, I do agree. I think this one was definitely the weakest of the Spec trilogy, I guess. Um, like I don't know if I'm like all that invested in Norman's stupid ass plans. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It was still fun. I still enjoyed reading it. I love the fact that the cat's name is Maguire, spelled the exact same way as Toby Maguire. Again, I don't know if that's like meta commentary because I think this came out before the
Yeah, it would
movie
be
was even
before.
announced,
Yeah.
but it's still really funny to me because that's all I could think of when I see that spelling. Um, and I also enjoy the fact that Prodigy gets his fake nose ripped off and no one says anything about it.
Yeah, he's just standing there noseless.
Like he's
And I'm
standing there noseless
surprised.
for one, and like
Uh,
secondly, the nose looks they look completely different. So
yeah.
no one like thinks to say anything.
Well, for me, I'm surprised that Norman didn't immediately see through it after that because in Sensational, like, this mirrors Sensational a lot in the fact that, like, Norman wants to use this new identity against Peter, but it is Peter, so like that's the irony. And at the end of Sensational, Norman finds out that it is Peter, and somehow he just doesn't hear after like everything with the Spider-Man costume and everything with like the nose being missing. It's just no, he still doesn't know, and the Prodigy guy just fucking disappears after this. So who cares anyway? Until Slingers, but that's a couple years from now,
Thank you for
and
bringing up
Norman's
sensational because
kind of gone by then. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, you're fine. You're fine. Thank you for bringing up sensational. That's the variant one that I owned for Hornet. Um, I don't think that was actually a variant, but I do own the Hornet cover, Sensational 28. Thank you for bringing that up. But yeah, it's really ridiculous that because you would think, I mean, I mean, they've been fighting for, I guess, during this time, like 30 something years, 20, 30 years, and he's able to figure it out then. Why can't he now? At this
Yeah.
point, like Peter has to be masking his voice so fucking well that there's no way. There's just no way. It's
Especially when he
stupid.
was
It's
Hornet, because like he wasn't Hornet wasn't like a like a stereotypical hero. He was just like a himself. So he just
yeah,
like
he
talked
was just kind of
normally.
a dude. Yeah,
So I don't know, but
but
with Prodigy, I guess you can be like he's talking like this probably. So it might be not as easy to
especially
tell. But I feel like if I did that all day, someone would fucking know it's me.
yeah, like because going back to that quote that the guy asks of him, he says, "You can rest a little easier from now on, New York. Prodigy is on the job." It just sounds like something Superman would say. Like I keep bringing up Superman, but that's what it feels like to me. It's just very classic heroic archetype, and I that's the how I imagine Peter saying it in that like bold, manly, heroic voice. And it would be easy to decipher after probably like 10 minutes. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
yeah, you would know by then that it's not
dude speaking with his chest puffed out and deep breath and deep voice, and you know
standing
that's
up
you can
tall and
tell who
straight
that is.
because he's drawn like doing that in the panel
Yeah,
before that.
hands on the hips, the true hero. But
Exactly.
no, it was a fun string of books. At the end of it all, since this is my last hurrah for Identity Crisis, I would rank them. You don't have to do this because obviously you didn't read all of them, but I would rank them Hornet, Dusk, this, and Ricochet. But Ricochet is like really far down because Ricochet was fucking bad. Amazing Spider-Man was pretty bad. Um, but I really did have a fun time with these books. It's
Hmm.
JMD is a master at dialogue. He can write fun stories. Again, when we switched to Greenberg, I like Glenn Greenberg a lot, just like as a person and also as a writer, as an editor. But in this book, I have to mention it. When he saves the daughter, she kisses him, which, first of all, he allows to happen. Don't love that.
Yeah,
And second of
that
all,
part
he
was like,
thinks,
what the fuck?
"Where were you when I was single?" He says that. He says, "And
Yeah,
where were you when
like
I was single?" Why the fuck would you ever think that, dude?
Like,
you are
because
married
correct
and
me
you
if I'm
have
wrong,
been
but I'm
married
pretty sure
and
they're
you
still
are
married by this
deeply in
point, right?
love.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
that
married.
part, that was like, hold on now. JMD Mateus would never write that. He would never write that.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but
That's how you can
it
tell
was so
he didn't
strange.
write that issue, dude. It's like what the hell.
It was so jarring. But I will go back because I do have like I guess I do kind of have a ranking just on the suit quality, or I guess the suit designs for the Identity Crisis ones, because these I've remembered all these since childhood. I think honestly, I think I'm mm, I think I might have to go Prodigy, Hornet, Dusk, and then Ricochet, just from a costume aspect. Because you're right, I haven't read too many of the other stories, so I can't judge based off of them. But I don't know. I especially am a big Hornet fan. I really like the Hornet. Um, but I think I like Prodigy just a little bit more because of how
The
silly he
Hornet
is.
fandom is
Um,
dying. Retweet if you're horny.
if you're a true retreat, if you're a true horny, yeah, there you go. But yeah, I like them. I like the concept of him just being a normal dude. And Ricochet is just he both looks bad, and I'm gonna take your word that the story is just bad. Um,
Well, so of all of them,
I don't
Ricochet is
know.
my favorite looking one. But it
That's
just
hilarious.
the issues of Amazing are terrible.
That's hilarious. I mean, you're also the biggest Talon fan on the planet, so I guess I'm not too surprised to hear this.
Dude, dude, they're so similar because they both are men. That's it.
You're like Reed Richards with this level of stretching.
There's like nothing I can think of to compare them. No, Ricochet's so 90s. I think it's just like it's the leather jacket and the silly fucking like two-toned it's like ski outfit or whatever. I don't know. It's just fun.
He's got the hair
But
coming out the top of the mask,
yeah, the hair coming out the top is
always looks
sick.
stupid.
No, it looks fucking awesome. Invincible.
This is where we start to differ because I hate that look like 9 times out of 10. I think it looks awful.
You're just weak. You don't understand.
Maybe I am. Well, I like it when
What
it's
would you know
on
about
Wally West.
what would you know about designing costumes?
But it's not like that's been like my whole thing since childhood.
No, no, you don't know anything about it. I do it every
I don't
day.
know
I make suit
anything.
patterns.
You'd, oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
I love. Never mind. I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say. It's fine. We can move
All
past
right.
this. So that was Spectacular Spider-Man, and that was our episode. I hope everybody enjoyed the ending of Identity Crisis, and I hope everybody enjoyed Alex. I know I always enjoy Alex. He's a very fine young
Thank you.
man.
Thank you.
But yeah, it's a good time to have him on. I mean, we're at the point of the show and this point in comics where it's hard to have people on because things are so rooted in what's happened previously that makes it kind of awkward to have to like try to explain to somebody if they don't fully understand. But I'm glad that these are kind of like they do reference previous issues, but they're not so reliant on them that you need them for anything specifically. And
Yeah.
after this too is Goblins at the Gate, and that's kind of the same way. And a lot of like so the next 2 months of books are pretty standalone for every series, and then we get to the end game stuff. So it'll be a fun ride for that, and to see whoever I can get on and whoever wants to cover those. So
Well, you know, I'm
thanks for
always a
being
text
here.
away.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe when
I'm always down.
I do the Daredevil and Spider-Man versus VR dinosaurs issue, I'll have you on.
What the fuck did you just say to me? Those were not words that were said in the Bible. Excuse me.
Yeah, the VR dinosaurs, and then the Plant Man issue where Spider-Man
There's
becomes
no
Man
way.
Spider again. Anyway, Alex is here. Alex is everywhere. Usually at the
That's true.
longest cosplays, sometimes at the longest tweet, sometimes at the longest penis, and sometimes in my bedroom. So
That's true.
find
Yeah,
him
no,
wherever you can. Everything will
uh,
be linked.
everything will be linked. Thank you for having me on, dude. Seriously, this was really fun. I'm glad we finally got to do this after like a year of planning.
Yeah, a little bit longer probably, but yeah,
Probably longer, but it's always good
it's okay.
to
I
talk
got
to you.
Brad on 2 of them within 2 years, so you could be able to beat him in terms of consistency.
That's true.
And that's it. That's the Forgotten Era. Everybody, check out Project Rescan if you want to read these books. Yada yada. The ones that aren't collected. Yada yada. And I am everywhere at Batcher Miro, and I like Ben Riley. So I'll catch you next time on the Forgotten Era. Goodbye.